Activities. Loved ones are often at a loss of what activities am I going to give my loved one, and it's good to give them resources for this, and I have resources for all stages of dementia. We're going to watch a video. Hopefully we can get enough audio for you to do that one, so we'll see. Cross out AAI-nature, that's a dead site now. Flaghouse.com sells a lot of sensory stim products. We'll be looking at Snoozlin info in a moment. ALZ.org has a lot of activities. If you look up every state chapter, they each have their own list of 101 activities to do while visiting your older adult. That's why we're doing 101 today, just to kind of go in the spirit of that. SNS Worldwide sells some standardized craft tasks, and MindStart has some adult-related games. So let's look at a couple of these. MindStart is a company run by an occupational therapist in Minneapolis, and she has a lot of good adult-appropriate type of like large crossword puzzles, adult-appropriate puzzles, like 26 pieces that aren't Winnie the Pooh, little sewing cards. Color bingo as opposed to number bingo. Look at her, she's already in a Hoyer with lateral supports and tilt back, so it's going to give you an idea of where she is in her dementia, still able to play that game. Pardon? It's like a stack of them that you mean.
You can't download them on the computer.
No, I don't think she has any free downloads from her website. They're all purchase stuff. Yeah, so there it is. It's a book, and then you print out the ones you want to use. So hers are all things for purchase. ALZ.org are free stuff. And then you have, I don't know if she has any. She has good tips on her website that are free and some good ideas for activities that are not just products. So, and then she'll give you some ideas of like who's at high activity level, mid activity, and low activity level, which would help you pick what kind of activities to give to your client. What else we got? We had Snoozlin is a passive sensory stim protocol. They have different products that they sell. You could make a sensory room. I want to show you the stuff that people sell because I know you're smart and you can go to Walgreens and find something that kind of looks like it. You know, so just look at it, get inspired to go back and be creative and come up with stuff. Or you can go to these sites that I resource you to. Snoozlin did a lot of stuff, a lot of research about sensory stimulation and multisensory environments. They said sensory stimulation will increase your client's alertness levels, and when their alertness levels are improved, and we do it in an incremental type of way, they wake up in kind of a relaxed state, and they're more likely to be actively engaging in whatever task you want them to do, like transfer or participating in their ADL. There was a study that they were less likely to bite a dentist if they were doing this. You're also less likely to scream during mechanical lift transfers, reduction in behaviors. And I have a video. Tell me if you could hear it. This is a room that was built for children, but what you could do is, if you don't have a lot of money, which you usually don't in the settings we work in, you can start by dedicating a closet space to this. You put a desk in there, have a couple things on the closet, and as you get more funding and show the benefits of these types of programs, you can grow. This program started as a closet. You tell me if you could hear it.
If you can imagine being in a body,
can you hear it?
And you can't tell someone that you're hot or you're cold or you're hungry, then I'm sure that I would act out.
Imagine being unable to communicate with the world around you. Imagine being unable to interact with your environment. Imagine being locked in a body incapable of simple, everyday tasks. These are all challenges students at Escambia Westgate School in Pensacola, Florida face on a daily basis. The students have a variety of disabilities, including cerebral palsy, autism, and Down syndrome, in addition to the challenges of learning. Every day, the teachers and staff at Escambia Westgate are seeking new ways to reach their students. And one day, Principal Susan Berry returned from a conference with an idea. I started thinking, there's got to be some recognitions that have been forgotten, and Smithland was the key. That gave me the opportunity to try to bring to these students something very special that they could participate in. See, you're doing that. You ever switch?
The idea of snoezelen started in the late 70s, early 80s in Holland, and the word snoezelen is a contraction of the Dutch word snuffelen, meaning to seek, to explore, and duzelen, relaxation and calm. And that's really what snoezelen describes, an environment where we offer a lot of sensory opportunity and a lot of switch interactivity, allowing empowerment to people with special needs.
We formed a partnership with Black House, who was the one that designed our rooms, and it has blossomed into this wonderful multi-sensory environment.
And from humble beginnings as a small room converted from a closet to the beautiful 4-room Lacey A. Collier Snoezelen Complex, the Snoezelen concept has been enriching the education and lives of the students at Escambia Westgate.
Tapping into their sensory concept, it will enhance activities when we get back to the classroom. It's so hard for our children to focus on things, and sometimes if they get an outlet and they come back in the classroom, it's easier for them to stay focused on tasks.
I have found out that he is more aware of his environment. He's standing for longer periods of time at bubble tubes that he wasn't doing before, and starting to notice the different equipment that is in the facility as far as the lights changing on rugs, and noticing that if he does certain, if he does something, it's going to do something back to him.
One of the largest misconceptions is that our children with disabilities can't learn, and that's just simply not true. You just have to find the right key, the right segue, the right vehicle to unlock it.
At one time, it was hard for her to focus on things, and when she did focus on some things, it was like she was staring into space, and it was hard to get her attention back. But now, the program's helped her so much that I feel that she wants people to know that she's learning these new things.
Even if they can just move their cheek or blink an eye, they can have something happen. It's cause and effect, and that's all communication.
His concentration and his eye contact is much, much better. He can look at more pictures at once on deciding what he wants to do. It's just unbelievable how much progress he's made since he's been at Westgate.
And while the Snoezelen Complex has already begun impacting the lives of Escambia Westgate students, the staff is continuing to expand on the concept, bringing more opportunities for empowerment and education to its children in future phases of the program.
We're not finished yet. We've only just begun, and this is a dream that came true, and now we are empowered to dare to dream even bigger.
So thrills, risks, opportunity, expanding life, opening up, defying disabilities, and we just don't want to deal with the disability. We want to be real children, and we want to learn and have fun like regular kids.
Things are just, pretty age specific. Like I probably wouldn't use a hammock swing. Oh, I forgot. That's right. Some of those things are very age specific, and like I probably wouldn't use a hammock swing for an adult. They do have adult style swings that just move in a lateral direction. They are more firmly built, and they have that through Snoozlin and other sites also. But I want you to look, the 3D wall art, that's a really good idea. Think of that wanderer that's going through an environment, just some way to meaningfully interact with what they see. They seem to be pretty easy to clean. Also, there's the top one. Okay. I wouldn't use the floor panels just because already there might be a fall risk, and I think, they might want to bend over to touch the lights that are down there, but I mean, you could use that kind of judgment. But I love the bubble tubes. Let's see. Yeah, you could hire someone to design a room for you, and it probably costs about $50,000 to get started. And ask for that first so your boss can say no, and then come back and ask for $500, because then you'll sound reasonable. That's called door in the face technique. But your boss will say, I'll give you $50. And you say, a week? All right, so these are kind of nice. Why is the room white? I think because they didn't, in that particular room, they wanted to draw people to the materials, not to the, yeah. But I think it's kind of weird that they got all those bolsters and triangle cushions to be white. That's, I wouldn't do that. I like this colorful one. Oh yeah, so you go to Spencer's, they have a little tube with fish swimming in it, so that's like $20. Theirs is about $100, but I like it because it has the white noise, and you'll get a lot of use out of it if that's what you like. And if you go to flaghouse.com, they sell competitive products right next to the Snoozlin stuff, so things that look kind of like Snoozlin. Like they'll sell the Snoozlin projector, which is like $1,200. And then next to it, they'll sell a projector for $300. I'll show you their projector. We used to have a projector at the VA hospital. That's when the VA used to have funding. We had a room dedicated to this, and we had the a la carte. And you have different slide inserts you can put in. And then it turns the whole room into an omnitheater. You could either hang it from the ceiling and aim it down, or you could put it on a table and aim it up. And just these colors would be covering the whole room. And it's nice and slow, so it's not overstimulating. And that's the thing about sensory stim. Some people always bail on the program because they try to run every sense at the same time, like it's Cirque du Soleil, and you just, you overstimulate the clients, and you really want to only run one thing at a time, giving the client lots and lots of time to process. And that's what I forgot to tell you about the thalamus. That's also affected. 6 out of 7 of your senses contact the thalamus, and your clients have a sensory impairment when they have dementia, and we absolutely must give them lots of time to process sensory input. Because if you don't, they're going to process at the midbrain level, and you get a fight or flight kind of response. You ever try to tell someone, sit down, sit down, sit down, let me help you sit down? Well, they're going to punch you if we don't give them time to process. And that's processing at the midbrain as opposed to the cortex. Or you ever talk to someone, and they go, what? And then you raise your voice, and they go, don't yell, I'm not deaf. I have receptive aphasia. That's what they say every time. I wish they said that. It's not a midbrain, it's a cortical problem in that case. Oh yeah, so those projectors, you can put different slides, and they even have liquid-filled slides, so the whole room, you feel like you're in the middle of a lava lamp. It's kind of cool. Psychedelic. So you've got sensory stim that isn't Buzz Lightyear. You know, this is adult appropriate, but also for the very young. They use this for people with Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, severe cognitive impairment, and clients who have dementia as well. Yes, ma'am.
The premise behind this is that if we're appropriately stimulating someone at their level that they can assimilate this, then we're enhancing the quality of their life, obviously, increasing sleep cycles, things like that. But I guess from my experience, there seems to be such a fine line between appropriate level of stimulation or degree of stimulation and overstimulating someone where you have, then you're swinging them into a potentially catastrophic event where you're swinging at them.
You have to be very careful when you provide sensory stimulation, and I understand your question. You're saying you need to, what is the purpose behind the sensory stimulation, and how do you know when you've given enough? Is that kind of... Or too much.
Right. You get to that point.
You always want to be aware of your client's alertness levels before, during, and after. And this is the problem, because people who can be agitated, they also have very passive states, and you might have been treating their passive state, and then they swing right into the agitated state. Remember I told you the basal ganglia could be stuck in the on or off position. So basically you turned it on, and you're getting too aggressive. We will talk about aggression and cues that would indicate that someone is getting agitated. I'll tell you that part now. Sometimes they're really nice, and they tell you what they're going to do to you. You know, in the FBI, I'd call that a clue. You know, I'm going to punch you in the nose. Well, I would just stop, shut everything off in the sensory stim room, maybe just leave some white noise going, dim the lights, leave, give them some time to cool off. Now, sensory stim generally has an overall organizing effect if you pick the right stim. Deep joint compressions will bring people up or down. Lavender brings people up or down. So they're kind of like your safe stim. Noxious stim are only going to bring people up. So I would avoid noxious stim if someone's upset, like volatile, uncomfortable kind of stuff. Bright lights, high-pitched noises are also very agitating. If someone seems to be going in an agitating direction, we do calming type of stimulation, deep pressure, warm, talking in a soft, smooth voice, always explaining what you're doing and holding yourself in that kind of position. So yeah, you absolutely need to be aware. And one thing I like to do is incrementally stimulate people. Start with very gentle stim, stimulating the simpler senses, and moving your way up to more complicated senses. You know, like I don't just walk into a room and give someone sternal pressure. That's what I'm saying. Like you want to go slowly, like maybe smell something, because that's your simplest sense, and then work your way up. That will be the last slide in our presentation today, how to do incremental sensory stim, because that way you could gradually wake someone up. If you do it in the wrong order, I mean, especially if someone's in end-stage dementia, you don't want to aggravate their cardiac rates. You don't want to, you know, get all of their SATs off. So definitely have to be done carefully, one stim at a time. If you do everything, they get overstimulated. You could also get a fight or flight response. I've had people shut off their hearing aids when I talk to them, you know, or try to run away or play possum, and those are all indicators that they've had too much. All right, so that's Snoozlin, and if you go on Flag House, they have other ideas. So that's how you would make an MSE, but you could also take the senses and just do an a la carte, bring one little piece to a person at a time. And absolutely ask yourself, why are you doing the STEM? Because you want to write a goal. After so many minutes of sensory STEM, this client will have improved alertness to do what? Because if you don't have a reason to wake them up, I mean, are you doing it to prevent the effects of sensory deprivation? All right, once they're awake, let's make a goal for them to actively engage in some sort of task independently, like sanding a block of wood or feeding themselves or something. All right. Men are more likely to seek respite services than women. Women are more likely to provide the actual ADL service to their spouse. So we see that spousal caregivers, men are more manager types, less likely to be doing the ADL with their loved one. The spouse, the woman's female spouse, is more likely to be embedded in the ADL. So the male spousal caregivers end up caregiving for longer periods of time, I think because it's less physically taxing. And it might even be less emotionally taxing. Men see it as sticking out their relationship to the end. Women see it as providing the best care that I can until I'm done, and then sending them to someone else who's just as good or as good as I can get. So it's kind of a different way of thinking things. But men and women both underutilize services, and most of it is because a lack of awareness of all of the services that are available to them in the community. So social work, it is very important that you tell them all of the services, and nurses and therapists, repeat it. You could say the same thing because remember, they're not processing everything. They might need to hear things more than once from different people. And another thing is, they may not be telling you when they're having problems because they protect their loved ones. They don't want you to know all their dignity. They don't want to ruin someone's dignity by sharing all their secrets with you. But if you're open and receptive, they may know it's okay to vent and to ask for that help. They may not be asking for help from their kids for the same reason, where their children would have been very happy to help if only they were asked. According to the research, the best ways to prevent getting a dementia include exercising on a regular basis. You know how much you're supposed to exercise. We've gotten it in the media so many times. Was it at least 3 days a week for how many minutes? 30 minutes. And what level? Mild, moderate, or heavy? Moderate level exercise. And if you do it you could do 5 days a week for 15 minutes. That's fine. Anything you do is going to be good for you. Walking on your lunch break, parking further away at the supermarket, returning the shopping cart to the supermarket, doing squats while you brush your teeth. Whenever you hit a stop sign, stick your stomach in and push it in behind your ribs. Whenever you get a chance to do some exercise, it all adds up. Exercise increases myelin levels, and improved myelin levels help with concentration and attention. And there's been studies for people who have dementia already who are on a regular exercise regimen, so PT and OT, your exercises are going to prevent cognitive decline. At the age of 53, you have your highest myelin levels, and Diane Sawyer argues you are at your smartest brain then. Diet is very important as well. A diet that prevents you from getting diabetes is a good start. People who have diabetes are 3 times more likely to get Alzheimer's disease. A Mediterranean diet has been researched the most. So really low in red meats, higher in fish, fruit, omega-3s like nuts, olive oil. There have been specific foods that were studied, like red wine had a positive effect. I think it's because of the antioxidants and bioflavonoids. I think they were both studied. That's a half a glass a day. And then the coffee study. Coffee improves attention and concentration. And it has long-term effects. If you keep drinking it, it will eventually have some long-term effects. But this study, the most effective study, was on people who drank more than 15 cups a day. And that has its own side effects. But you won't get dementia. Okay? I don't think there's any one answer. You know, you let your food be your medicine and balance it out. There was the turmeric studies, and that orange spice has high correlation with reducing Alzheimer's. Turmeric, Turmeric, and it's an Indian spice. India has the lowest incidence of Alzheimer's in the entire world. They think it's because of turmeric. Yeah, it reduces all inflammation, so it reduces brain inflammation. Okay. I know if you mix it with milk, it's supposed to reduce, if you rub it topically, it's like it'll reduce inflammation like on a joint. Like they do that over in, Iran. They do that over in Iran. So, yeah, you'd have to take the capsule. You wouldn't eat nearly enough to be preventative as an American. You'd have to take unless you always eat orange food, but you'd have to take the supplement.
It's like
300
300 to 500 milligrams.
to 500? That's how much is in the one capsule, right? 300 to 400 milligrams turmeric. And then any of the curry spices like curcumin, curry, they're in that category, but turmeric was the strongest, highest level. All right, so we also, being happy, being content with your life satisfaction is directly correlated with preventing Alzheimer's disease. There was the Nun study. We looked at all their entry-level essays before they entered seminary, and those who had a positive outlook on life were less likely to get Alzheimer's compared to those who had a negative look on life, and that's why they went into the seminary. They were more likely to get Alzheimer's. So if you wanted to go to Italy, go. I mean, it's important for your life satisfaction. Stop putting it off. You need to go. You think about it all the time. Whatever it is, learn the guitar. You wanted to learn that? Do it. And you know, if you get dementia, you won't forget how to play it, and you'll be useful to your activities department. Be useful. That's all I'm saying. Being smart is helpful too. If you're not smart, work on that. Because if you're losing your memory, if you're very smart, you could think around all the problems that you have using existing pathways. That's why doctors, lawyers, professors, when they get dementia, it's such a drastic cognitive drop because their mid-stage looked like your regular, and then they dropped. So let your brain be your aerosat. Be smart. I'll know about the principles of neuron cell specialization way beyond when I know they apply to me. It's going to be really bad. I'm not smart, though. I got to work on it. I'm like a late bloomer. All right, and then, let me see. Chocolate. Dark chocolate. That's all I'm giving you. All right. Now, you might also want to work with the family on strategies to work with their loved ones that have dementia. And we'll talk about all of these strategies throughout the day today. Early stage. I thought about when I'm in early stage and all the different neural pathways that I'm trying to create in my brain, and I wonder which highways are going to be the ones that stay and which back roads are going to be the ones that dwindle. I don't know. I mean, I travel for a living. I'm always in a different city, in a different place, and I haven't been challenging my brain as much as I like to. I've just been following the purple line on the Garmin, because I get tired at the end of the day. But I wonder, which roads do I use the most, and what kind of person am I going to be like when I get my dementia? I'll probably have a lot of cell phone behaviors. They're like, do you want to take your pills, Heather? You're like, Heather, why aren't you doing your ADL? Because you didn't friend me. That's why. Why would I want to work with you? No. You're going to see me with my rollator at this stage, with my cell phone and my rollator. Yeah. And then, if I can't see anything, obviously I'll go. Then later in the dementia, you'll see me with my credit card, because I'll be a wanderer, right? Every time I see a crack in the wall. It's hard. I've been using my Bluetooth to cover for my Tourette's. Right? Like, you crazy driver? Yeah, that's what she said. That I'm a crazy driver. Is that crazy or what? Yeah.